Awesome. Okay, so we'll get started in a few minutes here, right at 1 o'clock. Just waiting for people to join. How's your day been going, Mary?
I have no complaints. How about you?
It's good. It's a Sunday.
Yeah.
It's a Sunday. I got my planning done for the week, which was awesome and helpful.
Yeah.
I feel like I know what I need to be doing this week. So, got that done. I took a walk this morning, which was awesome, about 60-minute walk. So,
Excellent. I'm going to do my planning this afternoon. It'll
that's
be,
good.
yeah, a little football afternoon and sit with my planner.
Nice. Yeah, Mitch got his planning done earlier this morning as well. So,
Nice. You guys are
he
ready.
like he loves his Sundays of planning. It's like his favorite thing to do. He just
I
always
love it.
I know, he just always surprises me with it. Like I'm not expecting it, and so he's a great fan. So, all right, we'll wait for a few people to join us, and we're gonna have. I'm excited to share today. We'll go through essentially what we do as a business and what our clients get out of it and what our workshops look like. And we'll actually go through some live education today so people can walk away with some good stuff.
I hope so. I think it'll be a good day.
Yeah. Why am I so nervous? Why does a live feed feel so much like so much more pressure than a
It's like
recorded?
live TV.
Remind me not to be a newscaster because I
Okay. I'll be sure to remind you.
just freeze up. At one point in my life, I think in college, I was like, I think I want to be a newscaster. I really thought that. And
There's
then I
so many
realized,
things you want to be.
well, I realized I couldn't because I like move my hands and head and I feel like too much. And I'd be like, the camera's here and I'd be like,
Oh, yeah. They'd be like, we can't hire this one. She's too shifty.
she's too shifty. She's too live. She's too alive for us. Oh, goodness. All right. Well, we are going to get started here. I hope that people catch us along the way, whether it's for a minute or 20 minutes or the whole time. But for those who don't know me, I am Nina Ferraro, and this is my awesome business partner, Mary. I'm unsure if you see her or not. Sometimes our webinar only allows like the host to be seen, but Mary is here with us too. She's my phenomenal business partner, and we really could not do Boldly without each other. So, a lot of times you guys hear from me about Boldly, but Mary is equally involved in doing so many amazing things in the background that she probably doesn't get as much credit for as she should. And anyhow, glad that she's on this journey with me. So, what I want to do today is share with you a little bit more about how Boldly helps business owners or people with business ideas or business teams build and boom or amplify their business. And we do this through our innovative and proprietary business system. And we believe our system and how we coach and educate and teach other people how to essentially run their business from vision to how they actually put that into action is quite different. There are several other big companies out there that do similar things, but what they're doing is one piece of the puzzle or some pieces of the puzzle. And we believe that you actually need all these pieces of the puzzle to have a shot at really doing amazing things. So, I'm going to share with you a little bit from my screen, what I actually share with clients quite often. So, give me 1 second here. I'm going to share. You're going to see what I see. All right. So right now you should see a Facebook and now my presentation. Mary, can you see my presentation? Give me a thumbs up if you see it.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So,
I'm checking the live and we're good to go there.
okay, very good. Yeah, thank you guys for bearing with us. This is our first Facebook Live. It seems very scary at 37 years old. So we're going to talk about how to build and boom your business. Now, remember, whenever I say business, this might be you have a business idea and you want to bring it to life. You want to get out of your 9 to 5. You want to bring your side hustle to life and have it support you full time. This could be you have an existing business and you want to amplify it, make it better. You need to be more focused. You need to bring more of yourself into that business. Or this could also be that you're in the corporate world and you have a team of people that you want to make stronger, right? So you could be a leader in a business, a manager, a director, whatever it might be. And you're saying, I need to treat my team like its own business. They need to be phenomenal. So we would call that maybe intrapreneurship rather than entrepreneurship, but we can treat that all the same way. So I'm going to teach you today at a very high level how to build and boom your business. So as we go along, participate, please. Ask questions anytime. Share your ideas as we go in the chat or in the Q&A. And also, what you're going to walk away with is an understanding of what you need to do, right? Like we coach and teach on this because we hold people accountable and we give all the details that somebody needs. But you're going to walk away here and be able to do some of this work on your own. And I encourage you to be decisive, to take action, and to keep going because those are the things that really separate winners in business and the people that give up and have to walk away. So that said, how we started Boldly, I have to give a little bit of background because I think this is really important, is I started basically as a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, excited, kid right out of college. And I went into the corporate world and I had a number of, different jobs that I loved. And I had worked with a number of different leaders that I loved. But unfortunately, what happened was over time, I saw that I was up against a few things that made it very hard. And I imagine that you, either in your job or your business or your life, experienced some of these same things. So I was up against, for example, leaders, working with leaders that weren't necessarily people leaders, right? They were promoted because they were technically great at their job. But yet when it came to helping their team advance and grow and be better and operate at their peak, they didn't know how to actually lead other people. I also was up against leaders who didn't care about or know how to teach me to be better, right? So here I am wanting to do great in my job, but they were unable to figure out how to teach me to do that. It was just like, put your head down and do your work, right? The next thing was I was up against leaders who cared more about technical skills than soft skills. And I think every single person on any team in any business needs to have a good set of soft skills. They need to understand strategy. They need to understand organization. They need to understand planning and communication in order to grow and have the team operate again at its peak. So when you have leaders around you that aren't interested or incapable of teaching this to you, you stay at the same level and can't continue to grow as quickly. The other thing that I was up against is what I call the accessibility expectation, which means you should be available 24/7 by phone, text, email, messenger, whatever it might be. And that was another issue, which I'll address shortly. And basically just toxic culture in the workplace. So essentially, I started out right in the corporate world, like so excited to do well. But when you get hit over and over and over with this type of surrounding, right, or leaders around you that operate in this way and can't help you to grow and be better, what happened was I faced reality, which was in the corporate world, I could only go so far. I had kind of my own limits, right? I only knew so much. And what happened for me was I started to work harder and harder and harder at my job in longer hours, and I traveled 100% of the time. I probably put in 70 to 80 hours a week, and I was completely unhealthy. I had really neglected my health, my movement, my nutrition. I neglected my relationships, my friendships. And so while I was excelling at work, the reality was my well being was neglected, and I was really probably headed towards a very negative place because of how stressed I was. And yet, when I asked my leaders for help, even though I had very caring, loving leaders, a majority of the time, those leaders were unable to teach me the skills that I needed to be better, to be more efficient, to be more motivated about my job in the business that I was working for. So I had gotten to a point where I thought, this is too much. It's not possible to work 70 to 80 hours a week and travel 100% of the time and be healthy. Yet I want to achieve. I don't want to give up my achievement. So I need to figure out how to be better and how to do better. So what I did was I got to work. I decided I was going to figure out a way to do better, to be better, to get 2 or 3 times more done in less time than normal. I was going to figure out how to stay well, how to be healthy, how to have a balanced life, and I wasn't going to sacrifice achievement. So for 2 years, I studied everything I could get my hands on: psychology, science, behavior, achievement, productivity. And what I developed in kind of my own little way at the time was what's now our Boldly business system. And what that looks like is this: it's a 4-part system, and there's lots of pieces in between that we've made really simple and easy to understand. But the system looks like this: you have a Boldly blueprint, which sets the stage, right? This is kind of like a business plan. And we start with your life vision. And I'll talk about that in a second, why we start with life vision and don't just dive right into business. But then we get into your business vision and your business strategy and your purpose and your business goals. And essentially, what we do is we take this vision that's dreamy and motivating and inspiring and creative and keeps you excited about why you do what you do, and we break it down into smaller and smaller plans. And what's exciting about this is you can understand by the time you're done with our Boldly blueprint, you go, wow, I really have a shot at taking my vision and my dreams and making it reality starting in the next 90 days. The next thing that we do is we have what we call our building blocks. So that's taking the smallest piece, the smallest set of goals from your Boldly blueprint, and it's making a project plan out of those. So we're deciding what are all the little steps along the way that we need to take in the next 90 days to make this vision and strategy and these goal sets and make them reality. Now, this is where I see a lot of other businesses and like coaching companies drop the ball. They can very easily say, great, let's create vision, let's create strategy, let's come up with goals. But they don't show you how to take that to what do I need to do task by task by task? Who needs to do it and by when? And are these realistic, right, for the time that I have? And the issue with that is it's great to have a dream, it's great to have goals, but if you don't know exactly what kind of action you have to take or have some really great guesses at what action you have to take, you will easily or more easily fail in your journey. So we want the steps you have to take in the next 90 days to be easy. So we help you figure those out in what's called your building blocks. The next thing is we then show you our productivity methodology and planner. So again, you have that vision, You have strategy, you have purpose, you have goals, and then we get to those building blocks, the task by task plan. And now we teach you how to implement all those tasks in the most effective, efficient way. This is probably one of my most favorite parts of Boldly. This is one of the very first things that we put out there and created. And it is life changing because people are not taught how to think about their time, how to be effective, how to understand their priorities and what's urgent and what's not, and what they can delegate. It's just not taught, and it should be. So, those are those three pieces. And then finally, we get to bold behaviors and mindset. This is kind of like the final piece of how we coach you on our business system, which is, listen, we can have the vision all the way to how you implement this the very next day, and that's effective. But we have to also teach you the psychology and science behind unproductive behaviors and unproductive mindsets, because those things will kind of plague you and hold you back from really being able to operate at your peak. And so, with the bold behaviors and mindset, we really teach you how over the long term, how to correct those things. And eventually, when you put all these things together, you are able to operate at your peak. So I'm going to take a little pause. Mary, any questions, comments, anything yet?
Just some hellos, some friendly hellos.
Hi. All right, so let's keep going then. So listen, if you're here today, it's because you want to do business better, right? You have an existing business and you want to be better at it, or you're in a leadership position, you want your team to be doing better. Or you're here today because you're building a business, right? Maybe you have a business idea and you want it to really launch, or you've just started a business, but it's kind of like a baby business right now and you need to amplify and advance even further. Or you're here today because you want to achieve a huge goal. No matter what, you're here to do something great. And let me first share with you why, from Boldly's perspective, why it's so hard and why most people fail and most businesses fail to keep growing and keep advancing and really launch. So, we're going to talk about the key failure points that most people hit. I'm going to go very quickly on this, so take notes if you need to. The first piece is most people do not have a vision for their life. They do not have this as a starting point. So think about it like this. I always say, for example, we go to high school, we get a job, or we go to trade school, we get a job. We go to college, we get a job. Whatever your path might be, usually the next step that kind of dictates your life is a job, right? Your career. And then your career tells you how much time you have. It tells you how much money you can make. It tells you how available you are to your family. It dictates your stress level. And why would we want that? Why wouldn't we start with instead saying, what's going to dictate my life is my vision for my life? So we start with life vision, and then we say, how does your business or job or career or goal support that life vision? So I hope that makes sense. That's a little different way of thinking, but this is a key failure point. Most people don't start with a vision for their life that's motivating and dreamy and exciting and keeps you going in the hard times. The next failure point, people don't have a vision for their business. From there, they don't take their business vision and actually turn that into appropriate goals. From there, they don't take the goals and make those into smaller goals, which we would call milestones, right? The next thing they do is they don't make a plan from there. They don't say, okay, I've got these 5 key milestones that I need to hit in the next 90 days. What are the things I need to do to make that a reality? The next major failure point, and this is a huge one to me because this can be life and career changing, is not understanding your money. I know for me, when I really started diving into where is my money at? Where is it going? Is it affording me more time? Is it necessary for this spending? How do I make more money? What do I do with my money when I have it? Um, when you don't have this, you fail to give yourself options and you fail to then possibly go back and rework your goals. The next failure point, people don't implement everything that they've set out for themselves in terms of goals and a task plan. They don't know how to implement that into their day or their week. And it's not just about having a to-do list here. This is about implementing it in the right way at the right times for your brain and body. The next failure point, people don't address their whole life. So a lot of times, like I said before, you get into a job and that dictates your whole life. And what we suggest here is listen, in order to be awesome in your life, in your business, in your career, whatever it is, you need to be considerate of your whole life. This to me is a major failure point for a lot of businesses, a lot of business owners, a lot of leaders, in that they're not considerate of their teams and their selves whole life. That means your well-being, your balance, other areas that make you better at work and in your job. The next failure point, not understanding how your behaviors and mindset hold you back. And then lastly, not incorporating all of these things, your vision, your strategy, your goals, your milestones, your plans, understanding how to implement plans at the right time for their brain and body, being considerate of well-being. You're not incorporating all of this with every single person in your business. So because of that, what happens when we fail on one, some, or a lot of times all of these things, you have no real opportunity to operate at your absolute best and at your peak level. All right, so let me pause again. Mary, anything you want to chat or anything that maybe I missed?
Didn't miss anything. Dominique just let us know that this is great info. So
Oh,
good.
hi, Dominique. Okay, awesome. Okay, so let's get back to it. So again, I'm going to go through a small piece right now of our Boldly Blueprint, and then I'm also going to touch on our productivity methodology. So I'm going to do some teaching right here and go through it. So if you're someone who wants to do business better, you have a business idea that you want to bring to life, you want to make major strides in your career or grow your team in the corporate world, now is the time to listen up. This is ultimately where the magic happens, which is breaking down your Boldly Blueprint. So at a really high level, this is the structure of the blueprint. You have a life vision, right? We talked about why we start with life vision first and just how important that was. It cannot be the other way around. Absolutely cannot be business vision first, then life. It has to be, what do you dream of for yourself, for your wealth, for your time, for your family, for your experiences, on and on and on, right? And then we say, great, how does my business vision support that life vision, right? And then we get a little bit deeper down. Well, what's the purpose of my business? What are the behaviors I expect of myself and others I work with outside of my business that reflect my business vision and my life vision? What is my marketing strategy, right? What are my goals? And then finally, like I'm going down here, but the last little piece is a 90-day plan. This is where our blueprint ends. So you can see we go big and broad. I call this, right, like the macro level. And we're just getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And the reason for this, and this is critical, is that we need the emotional drivers from the life vision, but we have to turn it into reality. We need the goals. We need the 90-day plan. You need to break that down over and over and over. And that takes time, right? This exercise might take 3, 4, 8 hours to complete. But when you take this purposeful pause in your life and in your business, this sets you up for the next year, for the next several years. So getting to this level of detail is critical to your success. Now, another thing I want to talk about, which is for the blueprint, right? So I kind of talked about this is like high level, what the blueprint gets down to. We also consider the whole you. So we talked about just how critical this really is. It's not enough to just say, get to work, do the work 80 hours a week. Come on, keep going. You need to hustle. If you're not hustling 18 hours a day, then you're not going to make it. Listen, you're not going to make it if you're not considerate of your well being. You're not going to make it if you're not considerate of your health. And we have borrowed this from a fellow company called Medicool. We love them. And they have this well being wheel. And you can see here, there's 8 pieces to the well being wheel. There's movement, there's mindset, there's community and connection, there's restoration, there's surroundings, purpose and passion, professional growth, and nourishment. And so from the time that we start talking about our blueprint, right, which is that big and broad vision for our life and for our business or career, we're already being considerate of this whole thing. However, when we get to, hey, how do we actually implement this every hour and every day and every week of our life, we're still considering this. It is a major mistake for a business owner, for someone wanting to start their own business, business leaders, leaders who are setting an example and encouraging their employees to not be having active conversations about well-being. Major failure point if you're not hitting this. And so I want you to take notes on this if you can, that this is what you need to be talking about. And guess what? When all these things are done and being actively worked on, and there's some balance there, you will naturally be great in what you're doing. Okay. All right, so I want to dive even deeper into our Boldly Blueprint, and I'm going to break down some of these pieces. So the first piece that we have in our blueprint is our life vision, okay? And I'm not sure how well you can see the screen here. I'm actually going to look over here because I have it on a bigger screen. But we start with life vision, like a general, big, broad description. Like, what do you want for your life, right? That might be financial freedom. That might mean community activism. It might mean giving back to your community in really major ways. It might be about travel and experiences, right? And then what we do is we take our general description and now we start breaking it down a little bit further. So in the middle and on the right side pages, this is our actual physical workbook. We have an electronic one, which I'll show you guys in just a little bit. But you start with life vision details, right? So we say, where do I want my money at? Like long term for my life, right? Where do I want my house? Where do I want my vehicles? What is that going to look like and feel like? Where am I at for vacations? What are my life experiences? Then we dive into family, friendships, relationships. We go into professional growth, community and connection, movement, nourishment. Now, where have you heard these things before? From the well-being wheel, right? So all things are connecting. So we want to start with this life vision. And you want to give yourself an opportunity to dream. This should be so exciting. And listen, you don't have to necessarily share this with anybody else. A lot of people get very scared, feel this immediate immense pressure when they have to share this with somebody. Listen, this is your dream. Own it. That's amazing. You could say this, I just want to make, here, example only, 50,000 a year and be done working in 10 years. Or you could say, I want to own a jet. I want to build a skyscraper, which I have heard before, right? Like it can be anything, it's yours, right? But own it and dream it and have it feel a little bit uncomfortable. But what you want to do is you want to walk away from this life vision and go, whoa, If I could achieve that, that would really be something. That would really be exciting. These are deeply things that I want in my heart and in my soul and for my spirit. And okay, all right. So we start with life vision. Okay. The next thing that we do is we break this down then and we say, how does my business support this? How does my career support this life vision? And we go into your business vision. We go into your business purpose. We then get into business behaviors. Like, and when I say behaviors, I mean, what do you expect from yourself? What do you expect from others that join your team, right? So this is hiring information. And then what do you expect of other people outside your business that you work with? So these are points of constant conversation in your business so that you're holding a standard and you're holding expectations and everyone knows how you operate, right? The next piece is we define marketing strategy. This is not necessarily about how you implement your marketing strategy or how you market or how you go out and sell. But there are key talking points, right? Which you have to understand. Any business has to understand. And I will say, even businesses that I've worked with that are extremely advanced often miss these pieces. So it's who's your primary customers and really trying to define that. It's your exclusives. What are things that actually make you different, exclusive, better? And then what's your commitment to your customers? So we go through that. Then what we do from there is we say, great, now we've defined our life vision, our business vision, and now we're going to set our goals, right? And you could set goals in really any increments, but our primary goal is to get you down to your 1 year goals. What are you going to do in the next 1 year, right? So you could say, I'm going to set my 1 year, 2 year, and 3 year goals. You could say 1 year, 3 year, 5 year. It doesn't matter. All right, so we get down to goals. And then this is where it gets really exciting. We break that down a little bit further. And this is the last piece of the Boldly Blueprint, which is we say, in order to get to my 1 year set of goals, what do I need to achieve in the next 90 days? And you might choose just a very small number of things. This is not about starting to implement something for every single goal that you've set out for yourself. It's what are the priorities? What are the urgent things? What are the things that I need to tend to starting now? And you only want to focus on really a small number of things and you want to do them really, really well. Okay, so I just outlined for you what our Boldly Blueprint looks like and feels like and why the pieces of that blueprint exist. But let me remind you of like the whole system of what we go through with our clients and what we go through in our workshops and teach you, which is we start with that blueprint, that high level vision that we break down. Then we take that and we put all the little tasks, all the little pieces that you need to do in the next 90 days to make that 90-day plan a reality. The beauty of this is the goal is that your next 90 days should be easy. We should be taking out the guesswork of what to do next. Where should I be going? Because you've already put in the time to think about this and you know it connects to your 90-day plan, in your goals, in your strategy, in your life vision. So you know you're making all those things a reality. The next piece is budget. We touch on this at a very high level, but I think it's one of the most critical tools that you need to have, where you need to say, where's my personal budget? Where's my business or career budget? How do those influence one another negatively or positively? What changes do I need to make? I can tell you, when I've seen where my money is at and I know where my goals are, and I believe deeply in my goals because it translates to me being able to achieve my life vision. I have made some major drastic changes in my life with my money, but because I knew it got me closer to my goals, it knew it let me I could hit my goals, and I am very close to achieving some things within my life vision now. Okay, the next thing that we do, we teach you how to plan properly, efficiently, effectively in a way that people don't teach you with our daily and weekly planning methodology. And we teach that typically through our planner, but you guys don't have to use our planner. I just think it's the best tool out there. And then the last piece is we touch on those bold behaviors and mindset shifts, right? The psychology and science behind what holds you back, what holds you back from being the most productive, and how do we change that? How do we challenge ourselves slowly but surely to improve upon that? And when we have all these things together, and it accounts for our well-being along the way at a macro level, at a micro level, you can hit major strides and truly operate at your best. Okay, so I'm going to pause. Mary, any questions, comments, anything that I missed?
Not much, just some great comments.
Okay, very good.
Everybody's on the same page.
Okay, very good. All right, so guys, the last piece of this that I'm going to talk about is our planning methodology. I'm going to give you a sneak peek into our planning methodology, and I'm going to give you kind of a snippet of it. But when I coach and teach this, I might go into it with my clientele for, anywhere from 1 to 2 hours, and then they're held accountable to actually doing this. But in order to kind of get prepped to what our methodology is and how we teach you how to implement your plan directly into your day and week and do it in the most effective way possible, right? It's not just like a to-do list in a little glorified notebook. This is a real thoughtful way to go about your life. I think you need to be prepped a little bit as to how your thinking has to be changed about your time. So we're going to talk about our ultimate planning methodology. This is what you're seeing on your page is actually the first couple pages within our planner. You can see right away, it shows the big picture, which is get to know the well-being wheel. It's about setting goals, long-term and short-term, and then putting those goals into action by using our methodology, okay? The biggest part of the planner is it's not about the planner. The planner certainly is amazing and it supports the methodology. It is about the method. It's about planning in a very different way, okay? So the next thing, we revisit again Metacool's amazing well-being wheel. This is revisited every single week in your planner because this has to be a consideration. This has to be a priority. This has to be something that you put at the forefront because remember, when you're good in more than just professional growth, and you're good at a few of these other areas, that supports your growth. It supports you being well and a holistic person. So, all right, let's move on. On the left-hand side on this page, you're seeing how you set goals. I'm not going to dive into that. On the right-hand side, we actually go through our planning methodology here, step by step by step, and give some key tips and tricks. All right. At a really high level, this is how I want you to think about your week and your day every week and every day, okay? If you want to be better, you have to be more disciplined and follow these steps, okay? Just try it. I promise you, it will be life-changing. The first thing that we do is we cross off time where we have commitments. Now, notice that I didn't say meetings. I said commitments. A commitment includes meetings, but other things, right? Your life is not just meetings. A lot of times what happens is we look at our calendars and we go, I only have 2 meetings today. I have all this time to get stuff done. But do you really? No, you need to have time to get ready, to be with your family or your children, to eat food. Oh my goodness, to exercise, to take a quick call, to whatever it might be. Your life is more than meetings. And so when we look at our calendars and we just see meetings, that actually tricks our brain and it's telling our brain, I've got a lot of time. And so we set ourselves up actually to fail in our week because our brain is deceived at how much time we actually have. So we think we can get a lot done when really we cannot. Okay, so that's step one, is that we're crossing off time where we have meetings and commitments. The second piece of this is we are going to do a brain dump of all the action items. We call them action items, right? It is about taking action. But all the action items that you might have, your to-dos, your tasks, right? And we're going to do a brain dump of all these, all the things you want to do that week, need to get done. And where are we pulling these from? We're pulling them from our building blocks plan that we talked about earlier, right? So that tells us from a business or career standpoint, what do we need to get done in the next 90 days? So you're looking at that week and you're going, okay, I've got to get these 5 things done. That's going in my brain dump. Then you might be adding in other things connected to your well-being wheel, right? And other tasks that you might need to get done in your life or for your business that kind of popped up. Okay. So you're doing a brain dump. This is an immediate stress and anxiety reducer. A lot of times, mystery, not knowing what we need to do, or feeling like we just are reacting all day, that induces a lot of stress and anxiety. And we want to instead be proactive and purposeful and have a plan. So we dump out everything that we need. Okay. The next piece that we're going to do is it's not enough to have a to-do list. Okay. We need to categorize and put a weight behind the things in the list. So, for example, when you have a list for that week, your brain dump, you're constantly thinking, is this a priority? Is this urgent? Is it just everything else? Or can I delegate it? Those are the 4 categories, right? When you think of anything in your life, an email, a phone call, a meeting request for your time or your task list, you're thinking in this way. Is it a priority? Is it urgent? Is it everything else? Is it something I can delegate? Okay. And then the last piece is now we document in our planner at the right times for our brain and body the right task. So we've gone through this prep work, right? We've crossed off where we have commitments, so we know how much time we really have to do work. We know all the things we want to get done, but we've certainly categorized them and figured out like what are the most important, what are the most urgent. And then the last piece of the puzzle, which we'll get to in a second, is how you document them into your plan each week. Okay, so I'm going to quickly actually move past this. All right, so when you document your commitments, this is like step 1, right? You're on our page, every day gets a page because I'm sorry, I cannot stand when planners are like this big to fill in your whole life in a third of a column or whatever. I just can't. So Mary and I were very adamant that you need a full page because your day is as big as a full page. Sometimes it's bigger. So you start out with this daily page, right? At the top, it says daily planning. Then it says Monday, you fill in the date. And on the left-hand side, it says meetings and commitments, right? And then we've got 30-minute increments all the way down. On the right-hand side, it says productivity to action. So those are 2 separate things. Our brain needs to think about them as 2 separate things. They do not merge. One is showing up, one is taking action, right? So here, in meetings and commitments in that column, this is how you visually, how I need you to conceptually see it, right? I'm going, okay, I'm busy in the morning because I'm getting myself ready. I'm with my children. we're getting ready for school, whatever it might be. And then I have meetings later and then another meeting and then, right, whatever it might be. Okay. So you're crossing off time where you have meetings or commitments. Now you could write these in. For me, I sometimes choose to write them in. I sometimes choose to cross off the time because I also operate by my digital calendars. Okay. So, what that should signal to you when you're thinking about your week is, oh, I have 2 hours here. I have 2 hours here. I have an hour here. I have 3 hours here. It should show you how much time you should be adding this up, calculating it. Someone might be like, this seems like a lot of steps. Well, how successful are you right now in getting all your stuff done and working on the right things and being productive and being powerful in your achievement towards your goals? If you think you're struggling with it, then maybe try a different way because this works. So yes, maybe you have to put in an extra 10 minutes to your planning. But man, when you see that you're moving your career and life in business forward in major ways, you can't avoid this. Okay. So listen, on just one day here, we say, okay, we've got this much time to take action, right? In this example. The next piece of this, though, is that you need to know your zones. You need to know for your brain and body, you must be self aware. When does your brain and body operate at its best? When does it operate? We call that our genius zone or our green zone. When do I operate kind of in my yellow zone? I'm slowing down for the day. My brain doesn't have as much willpower. I'm just not as creative as I was in my green zone. And your red zone is like completely reactive. Your brain has had enough. You're on, stimulation, sensory stimulation overload. You've got to stop. Okay. So your green zone is, for me, it's like I could work forever. I'm super creative. I'm strategic. I feel like I'm my smartest. I should take a test at this time and not in my red zone. And here's the biggest thing. What are you putting into your green zone? So this is how you should see that page. You've got on the left-hand side, again, your time is crossed off. On the right-hand side, you had these openings, but now we're thinking about them in green, yellow, red. So when I'm in my green zone, this is a depiction for me of my green zone. What am I going to put in my green zone? I'm not putting email in there. I'm not putting social media. I'm not putting reactive tasks. I'm working on my priorities. I'm working on my big stuff that's going to move my life and business forward. This takes a discipline from you. You have to say, I'm committed because I know my brain and body. I'm self-aware and I'm familiar with my priorities because they're connected to my building blocks, my 90-day plan, my 1-year goal, my life vision, right? So we know why we're working on these tasks and these hard tasks in our green zone because we've already thought about it, right? Then we're putting maybe slightly more reactive, but not priorities in our yellow zone. And then we're putting reactive tasks into our red zone. Okay. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is our 75% rule. I talk about this a lot in my videos if you follow us, which is when you're planning, you don't want to plan as though you have 100% of that available time to you. Okay. Here's why. Something always comes up. A conversation goes long. A task takes longer than you thought it would. You have tech problems. A child is sick. Like, who knows? But a day is not perfect. It never is. It never goes exactly according to plan down to the minute because there's human behavior and human things going on, right? So we need to be realistic. Instead of saying, I've got 8 hours worth of time to get things done today, so I am planning 8 hours of stuff. What happens is you set yourself up to fail. That's not our goal. We want to set ourselves up to win over and over every single day, right? That keeps us going. That keeps us motivated. That keeps us going towards our life vision. So this is how you should see then that planning page, right? So again, we've got our time crossed off where we have meetings and commitments. We see over to the right, we've got these number of hours, the kind of chunks of hours through our day to get things done, right? We talked about seeing them in green, yellow, and red. And when you add up that availability, you're saying, okay, well, this looks like 8 hours of time. Do you have 8 hours though? No. We're going to use that 75% rule. And you're going to say, actually, I really have more like 6. So when you're pulling your tasks from your brain dump in your planner, right? We talked about where those tasks come from, your well-being wheel, from your building blocks, from things that have popped up, right? From that brain dump, and you're pulling them over. You're saying, I'm going to probably fill in what I think will be about 6 hours worth of tasks. Okay. All right. So that is all that I'm going to go through today. Mary, anything that you think I missed or questions that I can answer?
I feel like this was a great introduction to what we cover at a deeper level with their clients. I think
Yeah, awesome. So, for anybody who is interested, who is sitting here like, I want to take my career to the next level, I want to achieve, I want to be better, I want to be a better leader or manager or director, whatever it might be, or I have a business idea and I want to take it into reality and really do it well, or you have an existing business and you're like, I'm not operating at my peak, I'm missing something, I can do better. I encourage you, I would love to have you at our Build and Boom Your Business virtual workshop. We host this on Saturdays. The cost is $495. You can use our code for that at checkout, BBYB495. It's normally $695. Right now, we're giving $200 off. And you receive all of our electronic tools. Everything that we talked about, we have electronic tools for, and you also have physical tools for, depending on how you work best. And we provide all of our education. It's Mary and I teaching and coaching the workshop. You get on the spot coaching, you get time to do the work, and you can sign up on our website, which is boldlyandco.com. You go to the coaching and workshops, and you'll see the most upcoming or recent Saturday Build and Boom Your Business workshop right there. So I hope that you guys loved this. I had such a fun time doing this. Thank you guys for tuning in. Our first live webinar.
we did it.
Oh man. Well, thank you very much, everybody. And I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day.
Bye.
Bye.